Today I'm riding out to Shore Acres. It's a 10-minute ride from downtown St. Pete. The neighborhood faces Tampa Bay and was severely impacted by the two recent hurricanes, Milton and Helene. The storm surge was, and there's no other way to put it, devastating and historic. But this is not a gloom and doom tour. It's not a disaster tour. I'm riding out there because I used to live there. I bought a house in Shore Acres in 2011. It was right in the midst of the housing crisis. I knew it was in a flood zone. It had flooded, I think, twice in the previous 25 years, so I knew the risks. But eventually it just became too much. One day it just hit me. I was having a storage shed installed in the backyard. I had the installers add extra blocks to the foundation to raise it so that it was 3 feet higher than the house. So my lawnmower was now safer than anything I owned inside of my house. It was time to get out. At that point, even normal summer rains turned the backyard into a swamp. So in 2015, we decided to sell. We were lucky. In the 4 years we lived there, we never got flooded. But there was one thing we knew for sure. Things weren't going to get better. They weren't even going to stay the same. It was going to get worse. We're here at the Shore Acres Mini Park, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's just a little grassy area, kind of in the middle of Shore Acres. There's a fire station right there. But when I lived here, we could walk. My old house is just over there, and we could walk over here and launch our canoes. There's a little canoe spot here. Just drop our canoes right there. Could paddle right out into the bay in, 15 minutes, or you could go through all these canals in the neighborhood. And it's super peaceful back here. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take a ride down our street, our old street, which was Oklahoma, and it's pretty much all single-story houses on the street. And now that I'm getting a better look at the neighborhood, if you can see behind me over there, there are piles of stuff. So these streets around here got hit pretty hard, and I'm a little bit afraid of what I'm gonna find. All right, so another unelevated house there. Pretty much everything. I don't know what's been picked up, so maybe they either didn't get flooded bad or the stuff's already been picked up. It's hard to tell, but here we are on Oklahoma. Oh my God. All right, so, this is everything. Every stick of furniture in every house is at the curb. This house is elevated. That's my old neighbor, and that house sits up. This house right here to the right, behind this pile, is next to my old house. They raised that house years ago, probably in the 90s, so that it would be above the and it didn't work, which tells me that, I don't see watermarks anywhere, not that it matters, but my God, look at this. This is everybody's, everything, look at this. And so this is my house here. It's my old house that I spent 4 years fixing up to sell. All those doors and cabinets and everything else that I put in, it's all gone. Those poor people. So every house on this street That's my old neighbor right there. He moved right after we did because he was concerned about the flood. Every house on Oklahoma got flooded, and none of them are elevated except my old neighbor, whose house, I don't know if they put it up 6 or 7 feet, but obviously it wasn't high enough. So we're going to cruise over to Arrowhead Drive, and a lot of these houses are on the water, so a lot of them are elevated. Some of them aren't. Obviously, first floor there is not elevated. It's a 2-story house. I mean, you know, that's it. If you're not elevated, you're soaked. That's it. Unbelievable. And you'll see as we get into the Arrowhead Circle, there's still a few, but you know, a lot of these houses, at least some of them, that's brand new right there. Obviously that one's not. That's a 2-story house, but the first floor is not elevated. So they didn't escape it, even the bigger houses. Obviously the second story it didn't get into, but look at this one. It's about as low as you can get, and it's all gone. I'm going to go take a look at one more street. It's the street behind my old house, and most of the house, it's not on the water. There's no water view, and so there's not a lot of new construction over there. And I'm guessing it's kind of going to be the same. I mean, look at this. Unbelievable. I mean, we're what, 6 weeks out now, and this stuff hasn't been picked up, and we've got another storm coming. I mean, every house, every last house. I mean, obviously, if it affects one that's not elevated, it's going to affect the next one for the most part. I mean, nobody escaped this. So I think, you know, based on what I'm seeing activity-wise on Zillow, a lot of these people are giving up. You'll notice there are a lot of houses in here for sale. They're being sold cash only, essentially for land value. Just one house after another. So we're heading out of Shore Acres, and it obviously just wasn't those few streets that got flooded, because essentially every house that's not elevated, everything in it got destroyed. Every couch and kitchen and piece of furniture. I mean, it's just all over the place. It's unbelievable. mean, even as we're heading, I mean, we're still technically in Shore Acres, but we're getting to the edge of it, and you can just see pile after pile. I mean, I don't know what happens to these houses over time. I would assume that at some point they're going to be sold for land value, and you know, all of the houses in here are going to need to be elevated if people want to live in here. I don't, you know, this is now not an every decade or every other decade thing. This is now every couple of years this is happening. And obviously with flood insurance being essentially a taxpayer subsidized program, I mean, I don't know that there's any great will to subsidize a house that's going to get flooded every third year or every fourth year. And even if it was, I can't imagine that most people, if they're aware of what's going on, are going to say, yeah, you know, I don't mind getting flooded every few years and getting a new kitchen and new floor courtesy of flood insurance, which, you know, is obviously not going to cover everything, and you've got deductibles, and you've got to move out of your house. I mean, it's just too much. It seems like it's too much, which I think is why you're seeing so many houses on Zillow now for sale for cash only, land value. So now we're heading over the bridge, exiting Shore Acres, and we're actually heading into Snell Isle, which is, you know, the most expensive neighborhood in all of St. Pete, and it's also right on the water. But there's been a lot more tear down activity in Snell Isle over the last 20 years. I don't know if it was as much because of the flood as because, you know, the neighborhood is right next to downtown. It's beautiful. A lot of it's on the water, and the land is so valuable that you know, developers were buying houses and knocking down the smaller houses and putting up, you know, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 or 7,000 foot sort of mansions. You know, there are $10 million houses in Snell Isle. Well, as we wrap up this video with a little cruise down Beach Drive as the dinner crowd starts to file in, I mean, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was a little rougher than I had anticipated. I purposely waited, you know, a month or more to go out there because I didn't want, I mean, I honestly didn't want to see my old house, the entire interior sitting on the curb, and those poor people still having to deal with that stuff. And I don't know what I was thinking, that I thought it would be further along, but it wasn't. So, you know, hopefully those folks can put their lives and their house back together, and those who want to move are able to find buyers, investors, maybe that will either redo the house or hopefully start, you know, tearing some of those real low-lying houses down, and, you know, elevating houses so that this doesn't happen every couple of years. It's just heartbreaking. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. That was a tour of Shore Acres, the floodiest part of St. Petersburg. And if you want to see more videos, please hit the subscribe button. And if you get a chance, leave a comment. Let me know what part of town you'd like me to ride through. There's a lot of historic neighborhoods. We can make it out to the beaches. And as always, you know, if you're thinking about relocating to Pinellas County, St. Pete, surrounding areas, I'm a downtown St. Pete realtor. I cover all of Pinellas, and I'd love to help you out. Just shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email anytime. I'd love to help you out. And until next time, I'll see you later.